Welcome to another St. By Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everyone, to the St. By Night Twitch channel where we play St. Petersburg By Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness chronicle set in St. Petersburg, Florida, including Vampire the Masquerade, including Hunter the Reckoning, and including tonight's story, Werewolf the Apocalypse. My name is Kent, also known as Mishikent on all social media. I am the lead storyteller of St. By Night. What you should do, while you have a second, is go follow St. By Night on all of the social media listed down below, where you can find out all of the latest and greatest news about St. By Night, as well as some bonus content that our players, storytellers, and staff create for us to help promote this amazing community, as well as this amazing group of stories that we have. Of course, I couldn't do this alone. I have some amazing players that make Rage Across Tampa happen. And let's go ahead and introduce those players now. Players, say hello.
Hey, everybody. My name's Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the Arun of the Gale Stalkers.
Hi, everybody. My name's Champagne, Sexual Snowflake, whatever you want to call me. And I will be playing Aspen Wise, the Philodox of the Silverfags.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nori, and I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Black Fury Galliard.
Hi, everyone. I'm Simon. I'll be playing Joseph Ashspeaker, the Theurge from the Ghost Council.
So, for those who have been following along with Rage Across Tampa and the story we've had, you know that we have followed primarily faithfully to the Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition mechanics. However, the story has grown, the story has changed, and with that comes a need for a little bit extra, a little bit more that we can sink our teeth into, as we are working with a pack that is in the process of trying to awaken a cairn, to build up a sept, to create a presence in a city long forgotten by a majority of the Garou Nation. With that, we have actually reached out to a very special source, Caldorian's House Rules, the Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition reclawed kind of homebrew mechanics that were introduced to us upon looking for some research. This is a fantastic resource. It can be found in a lot of places, including Onyx Path Publishing, probably on Drive-Thru RPG. It can be found a lot of places, but where we found it is at Mr. Gaughan's. Speaking of Mr. Gaughan, he is going to be our special guest on this week's After Dark on Saturday. So if you have the time to tune in, bring your questions, because Mr. Gaughan is kind of what I would consider a minor celebrity amongst the World of Darkness community, and he has created a lot of resources that are super useful. But we want to give a big thank you to Caldorian for the incredible rule set he's provided for us. Some additions, some alterations. So when you hear terms like anguish and rancor, and they don't sound familiar to you, it's because they come from Caldorian's Reclawed House rules. Go get it. It's absolutely free on Mr. Gaughan's website. So definitely consider incorporating those into your story. Another thank you I want to give out, as mentioned in the chat right now, are these amazing backgrounds. As you can see, we've kind of spruced up the appearance of our background. So a big thank you goes out to Panchi, also known as Panchi Artista, who was our guest on last week's After Dark. She made these new symbols and auspices for not just our werewolf games, but for our Vampire the Masquerade stories as well. So you can look forward to future episodes seeing some bright, beautiful new backgrounds to our incredible stories. That being said, let's begin tonight's story. It's still the same night as it was last week when Aspen and Joseph went to visit Grandmother Willow, when Aiden went to track down Terrence and found out that Terrence may be a little more close to the cult of Fenris than Aiden would like, when Jester attempted to assemble an army to take down the forces of Ballard, Anderson, and Bateman and the kindred as a whole, only to be struck with a bit of a conscience in the form of Artie, who reminded her that it was innocents being harmed that brought them into this situation in the first place, and would the potential harm of more innocents really make anything better, or would it just make things worse? Struck with this crisis of conscience, Jester decided to take a drive. So she hopped in Regina and took her for a ride where she could kind of battle out the frustrations in her own mind that she had been dealing with as of late. Eventually, that particular car ride led her to Ryder's motorcycle gang. Her intentions upon arriving at the club were to work out some aggression and to possibly make peace with Ryder, despite the fact that he is who she holds most responsible for all of the harm that had been done to her companions and her friends, the hacktivist group known as Stheno, that still to this day, after many months, finds themselves in prison and in the grips of the kindred. During the fight, Jester found herself growing more and more frustrated as she couldn't get a good strike on Ryder. He was just outclassing her, and almost like a cat with a mouse, toying with her, playing with her, stoking the fires of her frustration. But with Guru, frustration equals power. Rage equals power. And with one final palm to the chest, she was able to send Ryder sprawling. Then a proposition came. A chance for redemption for Ryder after being told by Jester that's the only way he could make up for his wrongdoings, the only way he could be accepted amongst the cairn and the pack in her eyes. And the proposition was this: I can get your friends out of jail, but it has to be tonight. With little to no hesitation, Jester agreed. And they hopped on the back of Ryder's motorcycle, Jester looking over to Regina parked nearby and saying, "You do what you think is best," before riding off into the night. And that is where we're going to pick up tonight's story. Jester, you find yourself riding for a good 20 to 30 minutes, primarily in silence, as the sound of the wind whipping by and the roaring of the motorcycle seems to dull any opportunities for conversation between you and Ryder. Eventually, he makes a turn that you don't suspect, not heading towards the jail, but instead heading towards what appears to be a complex of warehouses not that far off. In fact, as you pull up to the complex itself, you see a sign outside that says Greer's Storage. He pulls into the complex and pulls down several of these long kind of driveways that seem to go between units until he pulls up to a rather large storage unit, large enough that it looks like it could fit at least one vehicle, possibly more. Without saying a word, he pulls the motorcycle up, puts down the kickstand, kills the engine, and climbs off of the motorcycle. He heads over to the storage unit itself and reaches into his jeans pockets and produces a ring of keys that he seems to thumb through really quickly before heading up to the master lock that seems to secure the door of the storage unit. Inserting the key, he twists and the lock pops open. He removes the padlock and starts to wheel up the large kind of aluminum garage door. What is going through Jester's mind as he's going through this process?
There are a bunch of thoughts racing through Jester's minds. First, like, what the fuck am I doing? This is entirely stupid and reckless. But all of it gets muted just by the constant thought of, I have to save them. I have to save Chloe.
Okay. As he rolls up the garage door, he kind of looks back over his shoulder, revealing the entire scarred, burn-scarred side of his face. And even though most of the teeth and jawline are exposed from the burn scars, you can almost see them shift ever so slightly into a mischievous grin as he gives the garage door a final shove, sending it rolling upwards. He then steps in and turns on a light switch. And what you are greeted by is something incredibly unexpected. For sitting in the storage unit is a fully fitted, branded prisoner transfer vehicle. He then walks over to a cabinet nearby, pulling open the door to the cabinet and revealing a pair of prison guard uniforms.
How long have you been planning this?
Never too bad to have a backup plan in a rainy day. My guys often find themselves in trouble. It was only a matter of time before it was one of us. He reaches in and grabs one of the uniforms off the hanger and kind of holds it up to you and says, I had to guess on your size. They don't come in bitch. And he throws the uniform at you.
I'll catch this. I'll catch it. But it definitely comes in asshole, right?
Always.
Fits you like a dream.
It's a male-dominated profession. And he grabs the other uniform and immediately starts stripping off the vest and seemingly not bothered by your presence at all, just immediately starts removing his clothes and changing into the guard's outfit.
Okay. I will leave my bodysuit on, but I will change into the outfit.
So it takes probably 5-10 minutes at most before you get changed into this prison guard uniform. The badges will get us through the open gate, or through the first gate, but we're gonna have to get past reception. That's gonna be the difficult part. So I'm expecting you to use some of that winning Galliard charm that you seem to leave at home every time you come to visit me. If you plan on getting us further into the facility, I can get us through the door, but if you don't want this getting violent, You're gonna have to be the face of this operation.
What's the story we going with? Or am I making that up?
You're the storyteller, you tell me.
It's a little late for a prisoner transfer, isn't it?
Could be, though an emergency transfer could go through last minute.
Might work. That way they wouldn't have anything in the system. And we could just say it was a last minute transfer.
Listen, it's the night shift. I don't think we need to get too complicated. You sweet talk the guard at the desk. I'm pretty sure they won't ask any questions and we can buzz our way in. They try to look at the badges, however, and he kind of reaches into the cupboard and pulls out two kind of hang tag scan cards. They're gonna see it's not our faces. And as he holds them out to you, you can see that the pictures on the ID badges look nothing like either of you.
I'm gonna hang mine, but I'm gonna flip it over like it's accidentally flipped over so they can't see the picture. Oh, and by the way, I was nice to you the first time we met. Then you screwed over me and my friends.
I want to tell you a story. A story about one of the only men I ever respected. Truly respected. His name was Joseph. We knew him as Black Rock. He was the Sept leader before everything started to go to shit. He was a man who had restraint when restraint was needed. He knew when to hold back his simmering, roiling beast within him long enough to make the tough calls. He had a strong sense of calm. He had a confidence unlike anybody I'd ever seen. But, like his Shadow Lord brethren, he was a liar. I remember when we were kind of first establishing the new Sept, we had to drive out a bunch of followers of Fenris, the real crazy types. You think I'm bad. You should have seen these guys before they truly got fully rejected. When we drove them out, BlackRock told me to give them a chance to surrender. And if they did, to take them prisoner and bring them back to the cairn for judgment. I did exactly that. If they surrendered, I brought them. Them, their Ghislaine, their human servants, all of them.
What's a Ghislaine?
Oh. A Ghislaine's a kind of not quite us, but not quite human either. They're a special breed. You know, when we get all big and furry and fangs and claws, it usually makes the humans a little
aware.
off. Not them. Doesn't bother them a little. They see it, they recognize it, they absorb it, and it has no effect on them. That's why a lot of Ghislaine end up becoming what we used to call kinfolk. Those who weren't quite capable of becoming what we are, but knew about us and could be brought into our culture without breaching the litany without causing a lot of issues. It's a rare thing, a very rare thing, something you don't see very often. So I did as I was told, and I brought them in. He executed every single one of them without a word. Right in front of my eyes. And I wondered, what was the mercy for? Why even offer it? And the thing he told me that I still kind of carry with me. So you wouldn't have to carry the burden of their deaths. I didn't mean for you to have to carry this burden. If I'd known they'd have gone after your friends, I wouldn't have even invited you on this particular mission. And that's why I didn't want you knowing what needed to be done and doing it anyway, so that you didn't have to feel responsible. I'm sorry about what happened to your friends, and I hope tonight we make it right. This was not your burden to carry. And with that, he finishes buttoning up the uniform and heads over to the truck and goes to climb in.
That's the start. Let's see how tonight pans out. I'll go climb in the passenger seat.
With that, you back out of the storage unit. He wheels the motorcycle in, closes up the garage door, and padlocks it. He grabs kind of what looks to be a large rifle bag out of the back of the truck and puts the clave into the rifle bag, zipping it up and then stashing it kind of next to him by the driver's seat. You drive off into the night, and maybe a good 15-20 minutes later after departing the facility, you arrive at the jail. Arriving at the kind of call box, the first security guard station, he swipes his badge through the ID scanner, and the gate buzzes and then automatically starts to roll open. He gives kind of a head looking away wave to the guard that's at the guard booth, who just kind of waves in response, and the truck pulls forward. We'll return to the prison break in just a moment, whereas across town, Aspen, you were asked to come meet with Artie at Artie's apartment, that he had something that was weighing on his mind that he wanted to talk to you about. So after your encounter at the cemetery with Grandmother Willow, the image of Artie / Cricket being murdered at the hands of Bloody Mary still kind of weighing on your mind, you make your way up the stairs to the apartment door. And before you even kind of knock or reach for the handle, the door opens immediately and Artie is standing in the doorway. He seems a little bit distressed, but upon seeing you on the other side of the door, that distress seems to lift ever so slightly, and he seems relieved to see your face.
As soon as the door opens and she sees him, she's just gonna kiss him.
All the distress disappears immediately and is replaced by shock and surprise as he first goes rigid, but then quickly melts and pulls you in for a tight hug. Wow.
Hi.
Hi. If I'd have known that was going to be the reaction, I would have called you over more often. Hey. What was I going to tell you about? He just starts looking around like really dazed, looking in all directions for something to remind him of what the whole purpose of this visit was.
You were gonna let me in.
Oh, yeah, come in. He steps to the side and, do you want something to drink?
Yeah, I'll get it. It's fine.
Okay. He starts to walk over towards the desk, and then seeing the computer monitors with all of the social media and media activity brought up on it, immediately snaps his fingers and turns around. Jester! I wanted to talk to you about Jester. So I had her over earlier. We were working on a possible plan to try and help with this whole situation with her friends. And as we started getting into the plan, she talked about creating an army. I didn't really know what that meant when I agreed to it, but then when we started working on it, she started saying some things that set off some red flags in my head. She wanted to leak the photos from the energy facility of the body farm and all the evidence that we had kind of picked up on. She wanted to kind of start a stir amongst people, get them talking about what was happening. And I started to get worried because I started to think that it was looking into this kind of stuff that got Stheno on their radar in the first place. And so I did what she said and got everything set up. But before I executed it, I told her that I didn't think it was a good idea and explained that putting more innocents in danger instead of helping the innocents that are already in danger, bringing people closer to our world without them fully knowing the danger. I mean, we can't tell people they're vampires. They'll just discredit us and ignore us, and, it'll just sound like crazy talk. But I didn't want to see what happened to her friends happen to more people. And so I told her I didn't think it was a good idea. And I think she agreed with me. She said for me to start looking into the getting them out of jail the technical way, the body switching, which, I mean, it's less innocence, or at least we could pick people who aren't exactly innocent to swap them out for. But then she left. She said she needed to take a ride and clear her head. I could tell she was frustrated, but I think I got through to her. But if that's the kind of way she's thinking, if that's the first hope for problem resolution, then I think we might have a much, much bigger issue on our hands.
Yeah. Well, you did the right thing. We couldn't have done that. That would put way too many people in danger. I don't know well, I do know what's happening with her, but it's getting worse, and I'm afraid if she keeps going the way she's going, we're gonna lose her.
Yeah, one way or the other, we don't need another Eliza or Ryder on our hands.
We're just a dead pack member.
That too. That's why I wanted to bring you over. I mean, the other stuff is the cherry on top, but I'm worried about her, and I think that we need to give her some time to cool off, obviously, but when she comes back, I think we need to have a really serious talk about this and really stress that We'll figure it out. One way or another, we'll figure it out. It just might require patience and time.
Yeah, because we can't do this. And she kind of head turns to the computer. We can't.
No, I didn't think so either. I get where her head's at. That's the world she knows. It's the world she comes from, and you know the power of social media can be a wonderful thing, but these people have no idea what they'd be getting into. And if they found her friends, if they found her mom, what else could they find, and how easily? Maybe they're as good as I am, if not better, at this stuff.
Exactly. And who's to say that they can't turn it around and make it her?
Yeah.
They've got weird ways of doing things, and I feel like we move that direction, they're just going to spin it around and we're in even more trouble.
Yeah, that was my worry too. What about you? What about how things go with the tree?
It went well, I guess. Um, she showed me some things, and it was unsettling, to say the least.
What kind of things?
The sept before, pack before, Ryder being held down, and another one of them being pulled apart. Except sometimes it was them, and sometimes it was me, and sometimes it was you.
I don't deal with spirits a lot. I mean, Regina aside. And but they're tricky. I think sometimes they show things that are meant to motivate us or scare us or just visions of what could be without knowing for sure what is.
Yeah, I understand that. I think I just took solace in the fact that it wasn't real. I mean, it was real, but it wasn't the way I saw it real. And been through my fair share of real life nightmares that it not being real makes it a little bit better.
He walks across the room to join you in the kitchen. And as you're putting together whatever drink you're making, he wraps his arms around you from behind, and I'm not going anywhere.
You're not allowed to. That's an order.
Oh, Alpha, my Alpha.
Oh, speaking of which, and as like he's still got his arms around her, she's gonna reach up into the counter or into the cabinet right above the coffee maker. She's gonna shuffle some things around and just pull out the container, put it on the counter.
Sugar's in the other bin up there.
She'll turn around, hop onto the counter. She'll like push it closer to him.
You want tea?
Okay. No more for Aiden. Or that goes in the toilet.
Okay. To be fair, he wanted something stinky, and I don't know how all that works, so I just grabbed the, most potent thing I could find. And hey, you can't argue with the results. We found Terrence, and then we found a lot more than Terrence. So.
I won't disagree. But next time, just bring him some coffee or something.
I will inquire with Eliza about what the better ritual components are so that next time he's here, I have this stuff on hand for you.
Thank you. She'll smile at him and then kind of look down. Do you think that in our situation, everyone's situation, the whole pack, do you think there's ever going to be a happy ending?
He thinks about it for a few moments, reaching up to scratch the stubble on his chin. Well, to repeat back something you've said to me, it has to mean something, right? What's the point of all of it if there isn't the possibility of a payoff? Who would willingly martyr themselves time and time again if there isn't the possibility of a happy ending? And now that you're in my life and we can do, kind of ticks his head over towards the doorway where you kissed him, things like that, I am counting on it.
Me too.
Good. Well, you want to hang out for a bit? You don't have to go anywhere, do you?
Nope, I'm free for the night.
Cool. We can watch a movie or something until Jester gets back.
Absolutely. I need something fun. Pick something funny.
I will. And he walks over to the couch, kind of leading you by the hand. And as you prepare to plop down, he turns on the TV and picks one of the streaming services and searches out Step Brothers and prepares to put it on when your phone starts to ring. As you pull the phone from your pocket, you see that it's Aiden. We're going to transition back to the prison. Jester, the vehicle is parked. No matter what happens, this is the rendezvous. You gotta get back to the vehicle. If we get separated, you get your friends in this and you get out of here. Drive through the fucking fence if you have to.
All right. What about you?
All things go well, it won't even be an issue and we'll just walk right out. Just this is the rendezvous point in case we get separated. Don't worry about me. We'll be back. We'll meet back here.
Okay.
So the first thing we have to do is get through reception. And we gotta get to processing. Now, I learned a thing or two about computers and indexes and searching through personnel files. If we can get to processing, we can find out which cells your friends are in. Once we get that, we'll get to the cells, get them out, and then hopefully just make our way out of here. There's a maintenance tunnel down below the prison. I'll show you where the door is on our way in. You get them to that, we get down into the tunnel, we make our way out, should let out not too far from the vehicle here.
Any turns in the tunnel I should know about?
Not that I know of. Maybe some bars, but those shouldn't stop you.
All right.
Let's head in. With that, you make your way into the receiving area of the prison, scanning the badges that allow the doors to be unlocked after hours. And as you approach the next set of doors leading into kind of the prison processing and receiving area, a guard at the reception desk kind of looks up and says, I didn't have anything scheduled for tonight. What are you doing here?
Hey, yeah. It's been a long night. Apparently we have some sort of emergency transfer going on. They didn't even give us any paperwork, man. Like they said they're going to sport it over to you. Have you gotten anything?
They turn and start typing at the keyboard at their computer. Go ahead and roll me a manipulation and subterfuge, as you are clearly lying.
Three successes.
He types at the keyboard a little bit longer and then shakes his head, looking back to you. No, nothing's come through yet. You sure about... Are you at the right place? You're not due over in Pinellas or something?
No, this is the right place. Can we just go into processing and just start working stuff out until the paperwork comes in? I hate standing around.
Give me a charisma and persuasion. At this point, Ryder's kind of ventured over to the other side, keeping his more burn-scarred half out of view.
Four successes.
The guard kind of looks skeptically for a moment, but then, yeah, that should be fine. No problem. And he presses a button near the desk, and you hear a buzz, and the door leading further into the facility kind of unlock and pop open. Just go hang out and processing and receiving, and I'll come get you once the paperwork comes through and we can get this all cleared out. I'll put in a call, too, to make sure that it's all straightened out.
Great. Thanks, man. Owe you one.
Night shift sucks, he says as you make your way through the second layer of security. Heading further into the facility, you see that there is a processing and receiving area and a place where they take mug shots and kind of get a lot of the paperwork done. Heading up to the processing and receiving door, you find that it is unlocked and easy to open and get inside. Go ahead and roll me a dexterity and stealth, however, as you are starting to make your way further into the facility and possibly going to access things that aren't necessarily legitimate.
Three.
3 successes. So heading to the processing and receiving area, you find the door unlocked, you open it, and the room is dark at first. You can see several chairs positioned along one wall, as well as a computer terminal that they seem to input the information into. They also have several storage bins that they place prisoners' belongings into before sending them across the hall to be put into their scrubs, prison regalia, outfit, kit, whatever you want to call it. As soon as you get into the room, Ryder kind of beelines for the computer and brings it up. And as he's typing, you can see it's kind of awkward at first as he's trying to type. And he says, "Fucking keyboards. You know their names, right?"
Move.
He steps to the side.
I'll sit down and type in their names.
Okay, go ahead and give me a intelligence and technology. It's not that difficult, doesn't require too much work, but see how much skill you have with a computer database at least.
Does he have any computer skills that he can assist in, or was he just
I'll
gonna?
give you one die assistance. He has a single
Okay.
button technology, yeah.
3 successes.
So with 3 successes, you do eventually get into the kind of prisoner lookup database, bypassing all of the input information and required forms that you need to fill out. And as you start to search, name by name, you see the various names of your friends kind of come up. It looks like a majority of them have been put into solitary, but 2 specific bits of information stand out. The first, Mia Nguyen, appears to be completely erased from the system. There's no mention of a past prison record. There's no mention of a cell in holding. As far as this particular database is concerned, she's a ghost and never existed. The other piece of information that stands out is Chloe. Chloe's current location is the med ward.
Does it say what happened to her?
It says that she has been suffering intense fatigue and is undergoing blood testing and bed rest.
Most are in solitary. Chloe's in the infirmary. They erased Mia.
Can't say I'm surprised. They got into her head, made her confess. She could have been transferred, or they'd had her purpose with her and she's gone.
It's completely gone here. There's no way I can actually just see if she was transferred or anything.
There doesn't appear to be any evidence whatsoever that Mia Nguyen was ever in this particular prison system.
We're not going to find out here sitting here, and we don't have much time.
Where do you want to go first?
How far is there a map on here or anything?
Go ahead and roll me another intelligence and technology to kind of maneuver through the system to see if you can get a prison layout somewhere.
2 successes.
With 2 successes, I would say it's pretty easy to get into the directory and look up the overall layout of the prison. There does appear to be a med ward just a little bit further past processing near the front of the facility, so they can quickly take people out if they need more direct care, if they need to be transferred to hospital. But the solitary confinement seems to be back and to the left of the facility, kind of a little bit further within the bowels of the facility.
Where's that access point? I'm looking to Ryder. Where's that maintenance? Yeah, maintenance tunnel.
He looks over the map and kind of squints a little bit as he gets in close, trying to see all the various outlines and measurements. All right, here, there's a boiler room and janitor's area, and where he points, it appears to be to the left of the facility as well, just before solitary confinement.
Okay. We go to the med bay first, and then we head over to solitary and get the others out.
You got it. With that, you immediately exit out of all of the programs, returning to the base kind of input area of the form, and you make your way out of processing and receiving. Making a left out of the door, you continue down the hallway until you're greeted by another security door that seems to go further into the facility. As you try to swipe your badge, it doesn't register, but it does look like it has a pretty standard lock that you could use to open it. It is electronically sealed, but a little bit of larceny could probably get you through the door.
I'll look to him and look back. I break doors, so I don't pick them.
Well, that's fucking 2 of us.
Is there a way I could break the handle where it'll, like, break the lock open without causing too much damage to the door itself?
You could certainly try. However, I'm going to make it a strength and stealth test.
Okay.
In order to break it open.
Can I get my favor?
I will let you get your favor, as this is definitely in the Gorgon's wheelhouse of something keeping you, a barrier that you have to bypass. So that allows you 1 extra dice to your pool.
Excellent. 4 successes.
Okay. So grabbing a handle on the door, you jostle it a little bit back and forth, trying to see if you can get a good hang of it. And as you do, you give it a quick jerk and a twist, and you hear a snap of steel inside. You shake the door a little bit and you can hear the deadbolt kind of rattling ever so slightly, but you hear it kind of disengage eventually as you rattle the door enough times, allowing it to be opened. As you open it, you do hear a buzzing, but it's more of a buzzing of if this door remains open too long, an alarm will go off.
Okay.
But so you have about at least 15, 20 seconds to get through before it's going to go off.
I'll wave Ryder through, and then I'm going to try to shut the door on the other side.
Okay, so as you quickly get through the door and pull it closed behind you, you hear the buzzing stop. Roll me another dexterity and stealth as you try to make your way through the corridor heading towards the med bay. You can see a sign with kind of directions pointing off cafeteria this way, infirmary this way, general holding straight ahead.
4 successes.
4 successes. So loping your way kind of through the hallway, staying in your Hamid form, trying to be aware of whatever is around you. You seem to go primarily undetected. Making your way through, you get to an intersection where the right would lead you to the med bay, the left would lead you to the cafeteria. Go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness.
Oh, hey. 4 successes.
4 successes. You hear some chatting kind of coming from the left hallway, sounding like it's coming in your direction. As you hear footsteps and what sounds like 2 guards making small talk as they're on patrol down the hallway to the left.
I am going to grab Ryder by his arm and, yank him into the med bay.
So quickly making your way around the corner and going through the med bay door and slamming it shut, you manage to avoid the guards who eventually just pass by the door itself. You can hear the footsteps passing by and going beyond further down the hallway. The med bay is a rather advanced area. There seems to be a waiting area and then some examination rooms off to the left, and then there appears to be what looks to be like medical holding to the back where it's got locked doors, but also has all the medical needs inside as well. You do hear some conversation coming from one of the examination areas nearby. You hear talking, and the lights are on, and it does look like the facility, for all intents and purposes, is open.
Do I see Chloe anywhere in view? And
Not in view at the moment, but you can imagine, based off of what you had found, that she is probably in one of the holding areas in the back.
Is that where the conversation is coming from?
No.
Okay. I'm going to try to sneak over to the holding areas.
Okay. It's not hard to do. Crossing the room, trying to make use of the cover that you have. You find your way over to the holding room door, and again, you find a locked door. Ryder instead moves towards the door with the sound and kind of positions himself by the door with the sound, looking to you like, if anything happens, I've got your back here. I'll take care of any issues.
I'm going to do a quick scan of the room to see if anybody's left any cards or keys around. This is just a vain hope, but
go ahead and roll a wits and investigation.
Yeah, nothing.
You don't seem to find anything. It does look like there is some paperwork kind of out on the desk, and that one of the doctor's lab coats is kind of slung over the back of the office chair by the desk, but there doesn't seem to be any obvious sign of keys or anything.
Okay, my way then. Will my key card work?
As you try to swipe the key card, it gives a beep saying no.
So I will... What is it? The same similar door as the hallway door, or is it more reinforced?
This one seems particularly reinforced, more so than the hallway door. It's meant to, this is where inmates are kept for observation over several nights, whether it's because of, a fight in the yard or getting stabbed or some sort of serious injury, something that couldn't be treated and have them return to their cells. So there is a security risk with them being in there.
That's gonna make a lot of noise. I'm going to turn back around to where Ryder is. It's locked. Heavy door.
Ryder kind of leans up next to the door that the sound is coming from, and he's listening. And then after a moment, you kind of see a small smirk tug at the non-burned half of his face. He then grabs the door handle and swings the door open. And as he does, you see the jacketless doctor, except they also happen to be jacketless and pantsless. And there is another guard, primarily undressed, on the examination table. And there is, to put it simply, some very, very amorous activity happening. With that, Ryder clears his throat, causing them to yelp out in surprise. Taking some, after-hours visits there, Doc? The doctor immediately starts scrambling, trying to grab for his pants and pull them up, and says, "What are you doing here?" "We didn't see nothing if you give us your keys." "Well, I can't. We didn't see nothing if you give us your keys."
I'll take out my phone. Otherwise, I get pics.
The doctor kind of quickly finishes pulling up his pants, and he looks like he's going to go for the kind of alarm on the wall, but Ryder goes, ah. You don't want to do that, Doc. Because then there'll be so many questions and so much paperwork. Did you get this relationship approved by the right people? The other guard, who appears to be a woman in her early 30s, "Just give them the keys. If my husband finds out about this, I'm in so much trouble."
Oh, this gets juicier and juicier.
The doctor quickly reaches down to his pants pocket, pulls out a set of keys and tosses them at Ryder. "You gotta leave those on the desk." "Sure thing, Doc. As you were." And he quickly closes the door behind him as he turns, and then immediately tosses the keys over to you.
I'll catch them.
"Go get Chloe."
Lock the door.
Do you want to lock the door that they're in?
Yeah, I'm gonna lock the door they're in too.
Okay, as you do. You kind of hear the knob jostle. Hey! From behind the door.
Enjoy your night. And then
Go
I'll
get
go.
Chloe. We don't have
Chloe.
much time.
I'll go get Chloe.
So as you get over to the holding area of the infirmary, you try several keys, but eventually you find one that unlocks. Opening the door, you head inside, and you can see that there are a few beds with patients in them, most of them sleeping, whether they're knocked out on painkillers or just it being later in the evening, taking to sleep. Go ahead and roll a dexterity and stealth as you make your way through the beds.
Three successes.
So moving your way through the various rows of patients that kind of are laying unconscious on either side, you get to the far wall, and looking through the beds as you pass by, you don't see Chloe, but you do see a door that seems to be for a maximum security infirmary. Checking the keys again, you find a key that unlocks the door, and as you open it, it's a much smaller room with what look to be almost individual cells that are set up with gurneys and the medical equipment needed in each one. Making your way down the rows, you get to the final one on the left-hand side, where you see Chloe asleep inside. You can see that she looks extremely pale, and as she's laying there, you can see some sort of machine seems to be drawing blood from her, slowly but surely into a blood bag. Go ahead and take an additional point of rage, but
Okay, cool.
also take a stain of anguish, as this is your touchstone and they have clearly been damaged.
Anguish is for Harano, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to rush to her.
Again, fumbling through the keys, you eventually find one in your panic that unlocks the door, and as you pull it open, you make your way into the room. You find her looking very drawn, exhausted, and unconscious on the bed.
They were going to use her for food.
Ryder reaches over to a clipboard and starts looking through the various pages. I don't know about that. I had a friend a while back who was good at this kind of stuff and told me how to look for signs of that. He reveals a page and he holds it out to you, and it shows a variety of tests being done.
Okay.
And then a single line that recognizes an anomaly in her blood. Holy shit.
What?
She's a Ghislaine. And with that, we are going to transition away. Aiden, you had made a phone call after your encounter with Terrence and the cult of Fenris. You called Aspen, who told you to meet her at Artie's place and that it wasn't safe to talk about anything you'd seen over the phone. Turning into your lupus form, you quickly made your way across town, back towards where you knew Artie's apartment to be. You had gotten pretty familiar with the surroundings in the few weeks. So you arrive at the apartment, making your way up, and now you find yourself inside. Aspen and Artie are waiting for you as you make your way in. You see them sitting on the couch, and you can see that Step Brothers is on the TV and currently paused. Hey, buddy.
Hi. He kind of like shut the door abruptly, and then take a seat on the couch. Sorry, long run. Sorry, am I interrupting?
Nope. Continue.
Okay, Artie, you remember that night when we went to the trailer park?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Fenris.
yeah. I remember there was those three guys that were there.
The ones
One
that
of
you
those,
picked up on.
yeah. One of those is staying in the same room as Terrence. They're like friends or something, because the kid I wasn't talking, sorry. I went to go find Terrence at the university to do just kind of an overall check. When I got there, he eventually came out. I was just my wolf self, doing slow interactions with him. then that guy came out and said, we got to head back. So I don't know if the other two of the cult people are with him, but I don't know if Terrence is necessarily in danger or what. I'm trying to figure out how to move forward with what I've just found out.
Do
'Cause
you do you think they're watching him? Do you think I don't know if it's coincidence.
I'm not sure. Because they both are going to turn. That's going to happen. I don't know if the one guy with Terrence is with the cult or if like he's just talking with them. I haven't interacted with him at all. But he seemed really close with Terrence, and I don't know if they are trying to get Terrence to join them. I gotta try and get in between that, but I don't know how to do that.
Okay, so there's a lot of possibilities here. The idea that two burgeoning werewolves being together in the same room, that's a coincidence at the very least. I mean, that's impossible.
Unless they have a kin seeker among the cult and they're like, hey, there's this guy, get in with him. Or it is a coincidence, and I don't know.
Well, they have to have a kin seeker. They wouldn't have found those three before they changed if not.
That's fair.
There's no way it's a coincidence. That's almost impossible.
The question now becomes, how long have they been here? We thought they'd only been here a few weeks, but the school semester's in full swing. Like, they've been rooming together since the start of the semester.
Right.
They wouldn't change out roommates like that just suddenly. So if they've been watching him, this kid is in on it. They're not just a new recruit. They're part of this.
I have an idea as I was coming over. I don't know if it'll work, but Artie, can you get me into school?
This late in the semester? Um
Like the people that look my age, they go to school all the time, right?
Hang on. And he kind of springs up from the couch and makes his way over to the desk and immediately starts typing on the keyboard. And you can see the University of South Florida come up, and then he starts typing some more. And then all of a sudden, it's a database with students and programs and classes. And he starts making his way through the registration process. Well, I can't get you in as a full student. What I could do is find their schedule and make you pass fail sit in on classes, kind of like an extracurricular activity. It wouldn't be official. That'd take a lot longer and probably couldn't get you in this semester, but I could get you a seat in those classes at the very least.
Okay. You know how you made this name? Can you make a different one?
It'll take me a couple days, but I could do something that'll get you past at least a cursory glance from the school system and everything like that. Yeah. I could
I
at
think
least get you in their database so that they wouldn't even think twice about you sitting in on a class.
Yeah, I need to talk to Terrence. I need to actually be able to communicate with him. And being a wolf, I can't get that across.
Is
Do
he
you think there's a
even
way to get him in as like an RA for that dorm specifically?
I could probably put something together. It'll again take a little bit of time, but I could probably have the advisory board request some additional assistance in observing that particular dorm. Yeah. Do you remember what it was, where it was, what it was called?
I know it was in the courtyard, towards the middle building to my left. That's all
I'll
I really
find it. I
got.
just got to get into his records and I'll find out where he's staying. And he
Okay.
turns and continues typing.
Do you think that would work? It's just an idea that I had running over here. It's the only thing I could think of how I can actually keep an eye on him.
It's not a bad idea. I don't know how much you're gonna get into school itself, just because spring break's about to happen, so he might not even be there. That's something to look into as well.
Like he can leave?
But people leave on spring break. They go visit their families or they go do other extracurricular activities.
Okay. I'll cross that bridge if that happens.
Listen, I'll get started on what I can tonight. It's going to take me a few days, so we'll probably have to check in about it later. But we'll get it figured out. Don't worry. We'll get you in to see him. Did he see you? Did he say anything?
Uh, yeah, I tried going like this, and some of the security guys there escorted me out because I tried getting in, and I'm not the best at lying. I tried saying that I lost my little plastic thing. So they escorted me out, but then they went a different way. I turned into a wolf. I let out a couple howls because I know Terrence likes wolves, so I was trying to lure him out that way. But when he finally saw me, I couldn't necessarily turn into myself. So he talked to me, but he's planning on meeting me at some point out in the woods where we first met, where I first he uh, saw me on a hunt. He's going to bring me some food or something.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, he seems fine though. I just if the cult is here and now they're like with him, I feel like he's gonna be going through his change here soon. And if that's the case, I need to be ready for that to help him through that process.
I also think you definitely need to find a way to meet with him as this, so you
Yeah,
can have conversations with him. That's an easier way to sway him and get to know him and understand him better.
As far as what I know about kin seeking, they aren't usually told about any of this until after the change happens. You don't give them a heads up, but I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know how you'd approach him in any other way without revealing it.
I I don't know. I'll just try to talk to him, get some somewhat friendly, get an understanding between the two of us. Then maybe I can talk to him about the other guy. Maybe the other guy is a really nice person and just wrapped in the whole cult thing. I don't know.
Point to consider. I like you just fine because I know what you are. But you're going to have to work on that human talk of yours if you're going to communicate with a person and try to convince them that you're actually looking out for them and not some weirdo who doesn't understand how things work. He likes you as a
Uh,
wolf, that's all well and good, but he thinks you're just a wolf. How are you going to get the human you interacting with him?
that's that's a great question. Uh, I don't know.
Well, that's something we got to consider. Although, in the meantime, it might not be a bad idea to call up Joseph. Maybe he can tell us
Yeah.
more about the cults, or I don't know. He's been doing a lot of studying recently. Maybe he can.
Yeah, let's get all hands on deck. Let's get the whole pack here and talk about this.
We should also probably talk. Aspen, do you want to fill him in on the whole Jester thing? I'll keep working on this.
Yeah, I can do that.
What happened?
Jester, you remember her talking about an army?
Yeah, briefly.
So apparently she wanted to expose the pictures from the plant of the people and get other humans involved, other normal people involved, in exposing them. And obviously, it's a very bad idea because that'll get a lot of people in danger.
Right.
And then also could very well get us in danger in part because they have weird ways of flipping the script. So I think Artie was able to quell that, and now she's off blowing off steam. She went for a drive. But she's definitely moving to a path that feels extreme. It feels like well, a dog backed into a corner. And it's not great for her, and it could put her in a very bad place, whether that's being like Eliza or Ryder or just
I've had a few good conversations with her. I could try talking to her and maybe maybe a different perspective than other than the human side, be able to help in what's going on. I don't know, but I kind of understand how being a dog back into a corner can feel.
right. The problem is it's a lot of human feelings with that. So
That's a good point.
I don't know. I just feel like she's really bad off.
Well, a little pack talk then. Just everyone, we'll just get here and we'll just talk, try and feel the stuff and try and find an understanding.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I just want us all to be on the same page.
Yeah.
I think the best course of action would be to, just let her know that she doesn't have to do things alone, and we're all here for her.
Yeah. I agree 100%. That I think it'd be good. Well, I think for everybody, just a reassurance kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on right now. And the last thing we need is one of our own to be stuck in a bad place.
Yeah, and one of us going and blowing off steam, but alone can end badly.
Or she might just be blowing off steam with Leon. You don't know.
Yeah, let's give her some time. I'm
Okay.
sure she'll reach out or come home soon. She's
At the very
frustrated.
least, yeah. Just at the very least, we could get Joseph, because you
Yeah.
say you've been doing like readings and or the research on different stuff.
Let me
Yeah,
give him a
good.
call. I'll bring him over.
Awesome.
Yeah, perfect.
With that, back to the prison. Jester, you've unhooked Chloe from the machine. She still seems to be very dazed and very kind of in and out of consciousness. As you remove the IV bag that was feeding her fluids, you can see that there was also a chemical introduced into the IV fluid to help keep her unconscious purposefully, a sedative. And upon removing of that, you can see that she is starting to slowly stir to consciousness. As Ryder looks over the paperwork some more as you're getting Chloe ready to move, he pulls up a psychiatric evaluation and points to several points where tests were done that came back inconclusive. There's something about her. I'm pretty sure.
We'll
But I'm
worry
pretty
about
sure
it.
it's a Ghislaine.
I'm going to gently scoop her up and like cradle her and be like, "Shh, it's okay. I have you."
So what do you want to do? Are we going for the others still? We're running out of time.
Yes, let's go.
Okay. With that, carrying Chloe kind of in a cradled position, you make your way back out into the hallway. As you get out of the doctor's offices and start making your way towards holding, more specifically, solo confinement, you're walking down the hallway when you hear a voice behind you go, "Hey! What are you doing there?" You turn slowly to see the two guards that had been talking, walking past, coming up and approaching you.
Returning this prisoner to her solitary cell. She's recovered.
What's your name? We didn't get any paperwork from the doc about any movement tonight. That usually happens in the morning.
I heard paperwork's all messed up lately.
Go ahead and make another manipulation and subterfuge.
Two successes.
No, something doesn't seem right about this. Why don't you come with us back to the lab and we'll talk to the doc together? Ryder looks over at you
I'll just
and
nod.
gives a like, and then immediately turns and starts moving towards them, his body growing larger as he seems to spring into action, switching into his glabro form and engaging with the guards. As he does so, he reaches out to grab the first guard, who starts to reach for a gun, and he grabs them by the arm, yanking them towards him and just clotheslining them with his full arm across their upper body, sending them spiraling and dropping to the ground. The other guard starts to engage, and Ryder just grabs them by the side of the head and smashes them against the concrete wall. Not hard enough to crush their skull, but enough to give them a nice rattle against the side of the concrete, causing the concrete to crack ever so slightly and their body to kind of fall limp and drop to the ground. Well, now we are really running out of time.
Is there anywhere we can like hide them, like they're not in the middle of the hall in case somebody comes by?
Ryder just quickly gets down and starts scooping one guard up on each shoulder.
This works. Let's just let's
get
go.
him into the maintenance room. We can stash him there for now. And with that, you both kind of pick up the pace and start making your way down the hallway until you find the corridors that lead to general holding and then to independent confinement. Making a left, you head down the hallway. And as you see that it turns right, roll me a wits and awareness check.
Three successes.
You hear the crackle of a walkie-talkie radio coming from around the corner. After a moment, you hear, "Checking in, all clear." And then the radio get holstered.
Is the sound coming closer to us or like it's walking away?
Sounds like it's solitary, probably standing guard outside of the solo confinement area.
Okay. I'll look to Ryder and point to the around the corner and then the guards.
They do regular check-ins, and they radio again, and he doesn't answer. This place is going on lockdown.
All right, let me try to told her.
He just lets one of the guards on his shoulders just drop to the floor and then scoops her up into a fireman's carry over his arm.
Alright. I'm actually gonna look up my name tag to see what my, supposed name is.
Samantha Richardson.
Okay. I'm gonna walk around the corner.
You see two guards with what appear to be rifles already at the ready, standing beside what seems to be a large steel door with a small window with bars on it, and this one is definitely electronically locked.
Okay. I've been sent to relieve you.
Go ahead and roll a manipulation and subterfuge again as they look slightly confused at one another than at you.
I'm gonna roll a willpower on this. Or spend a willpower to roll. There we go. 5 successes with a crit.
5 successes with a crit. Okay. As you approach, say I've been sent to relieve you, the one guard checks the walkie-talkie. Base, did you send us any relief? Crackles. No, we didn't send anybody. You sure you're at the right area?
You know, I'm kind of new at this, so maybe.
Happens all the time. Open confinement is the other way.
Okay. I'm going Glabro, and I'm going to attempt to knock both of them out.
Okay, so go ahead and make your rage check to shift. Okay, so you make the rage check, growing stronger, more muscular, more vascular, the veins starting to stand out on your neck as your size grows, your clothes becoming very tight, the guard uniform almost straining to stay affixed to your form. As you start to change, the guards kind of tilt their heads in a very confused manner and start to raise their rifles. Go ahead and declare your intention. We will do the 3 rounds and out.
Alright, so my intention is to actually slam them both into each other, hopefully enough to knock them out.
So you want to grab both of them at the same time and try to slam them together.
Right.
Okay. So go ahead and roll me your strength and brawl. However, you will have to split the pool between the 2 guards. So you'll have to do half for one, half for the other, and you can decide how many dice are in each half.
Any check on if they were stronger than me or not?
You want to try and determine if they're stronger than you?
I just want to know if I can get my bonus die from fighting something that is more powerful than me.
No. These are humans. They are definitely not more powerful than you.
Thought it was worth a shot. Alright, I'm splitting 4 and 4.
Okay.
First one is 3 successes.
Okay. And the second?
3 successes.
Okay. So as you move up to kind of grab both guards, one of the guards immediately bats your arm out of the way with the butt of the rifle and raises it up, preparing to fire at you. The other guard you manage to grab a hold of, but as you try to swing them, you kind of push them away past that, the guard you're trying to hit them with, and they stumble off to the side a little bit, and then also raise their rifle to fire, letting out a gunshot, which hits you and does 2 points of superficial physical damage.
Okay.
Next round, declare your intention.
First of all, Ryder, a little help.
Okay.
I'm going after the one that's closest to me. I'm going to attempt to slam him against the wall.
Yeah, give me another strength and brawl. You can use your full pool as you are only opposing the one, or attempting to attack the one.
That's close. 5 with 1 critical.
5 with 1 critical. Okay. So you do manage to grab them and slam them against the wall, just crushing their body against the wall. Not enough to knock them unconscious, but as they're struggling against you, they hit the wall and they thud very hard and let out a groan. The other guard goes to raise his rifle and fire again as an object kind of comes soaring from out of your field of vision and slamming into the guard as one of the unconscious guards from earlier is literally thrown at the other guard, smashing into him and knocking him back, causing him to drop his rifle to the ground. Final round, declare your intention.
He's Woozy, the one I have a hold of, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to attempt to hit him in the temple to knock him out.
Okay.
Not too hard, but enough just to... That's minus 2 successes, right?
Yes.
Because it's a call shot. Alright, I'm going to spend a willpower. Okay, that's right. Alright, that is going to be, without my successes, 3 successes. That's
3
already
successes.
the minus 2.
So grabbing his head and slamming it against the wall, you see him go limp in your arms as he kind of... The second bash just drives him into unconsciousness and he starts sliding down the side of the wall. The other guard, trying to pick himself up from the encounter, is immediately charged by Ryder with Chloe still over his one arm, and a fist comes flying towards the guard, punching him squarely across the face, then punching him again, knocking him unconscious. They heard that gunshot. We gotta go.
Does this open the maintenance and get her to it? Does this guard have a badge?
It does appear that they do have a badge hanging from their belt, yeah.
Alright, I'm grabbing the badge and running towards the solitary doors.
I'm not leaving till you are. I'll just cover your way out.
Okay.
You fumble for the badge, pulling it off of their belt, and swipe it on the high security door, which causes the door to slide open, as it is more than just a standard open and closed door. This seems to be something more of modern make that opens. As you get inside, you can see the cells on either side down the hallway of solitary confinement, rooms with the same kind of steel doors, but as you use the badge on them, you swipe and they open. And as you do, you see your various other friends of Stheno behind the doors.
We need to go. I have no time to explain. Just follow me.
Go ahead and roll me a charisma and leadership.
Ooh, 3 successes.
Yeah, 3 successes. They kind of rub their eyes and start to stand. Okay, isn't this a terrible idea?
Probably, but you staying here is worse.
Okay. And they start to get up. And as your friends make their way out into the hallway, you start heading back towards the door to solitary confinement, where you see Ryder turned the other direction. Hey, long time, huh? And with that, he slowly lets Chloe slide off of his arm into the room you're in. And as he turns to drop her into the room, at the other end of the hallway, you see a stout woman with curly brown hair as Bloody Mary blocks the path between you and the maintenance room. Hi! Didn't get enough the first time, I see. Well, I think it's time for this to be the last. And she kind of cracks her knuckles. Ryder looks back at you. Figure it out. And he hits a button on the wall and the door shuts between the two of you, blocking him out in the hallway and leaving you and your friends inside. And that is where we are going to go to break. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. See you all very, very soon. Okay, we are back from the break. In the first half, the prison break was on. Jester and Ryder managed to successfully infiltrate the prison, going down the various corridors, attempting to find the location of her friends in Stheno. First, they found Chloe, who was being kept in the medical ward for testing. It turned out that testing seemed to be something more than just trying to find out if there was any particularly blood-borne illnesses happening with her. Instead, it was revealed that Chloe is in fact a Ghislaine, also known as a kinfolk. They freed Chloe and made their way to solitary confinement, where they were ambushed by a couple of guards that they managed to successfully take out of the fray and gained access to solitary confinement. There they freed the remaining members of Stheno, and as they were preparing to make their escape, they were intercepted by Bloody Mary. Knowing the stories of Bloody Mary and the danger that she has put the Guru through, Ryder made the choice to let Chloe off of his arm into the solitary confinement wing before sending the prison into a full lockdown, causing the door to solitary confinement to slide shut automatically, as well as several of the windows to slide shut as panels closed over them, plunging the room into an eerie, luminescent darkness from the few emergency lights that are on overhead. Sirens blare out from all directions. And Jester, you have the members of Stheno. You have Chloe, who is kind of groaning limply on the floor, but you are locked into solitary confinement. And outside, you can hear a howl outside of the door as Ryder shifts into Krynos and prepares to do combat with Bloody Mary.
I'm going to slam my fist on the door and be like, damn it, Ryder, this is not what I meant.
There doesn't appear to be any response.
Is there a window in here?
Looking out of solitary confinement into the hallway?
No, like...
There is, but the several windows along the concrete wall have been kind of slammed shut with shutters over them because of the launch into lockdown protocol.
Okay. How big are they?
They're pretty small. They're not large windows. They're probably 2 feet by a foot, enough to let light in, but not enough to
get anybody out?
Right. This is a very locked down wing of the facility. Now, go ahead and roll me an intelligence and awareness.
1 success.
One success. Okay, so since you saw the map of the facility recently, you know that solitary confinement was in the back left corner of the prison. The far wall at the end of the hallway with the cells on the opposite side seems to be a wall that would, if with enough force broken through, would lead to the yard outside of the facility.
Okay. I'm going for that wall.
Okay, are you staying in your Glabro form to do so?
At the moment, yes.
Okay, so go ahead and roll me a strength and athletics as you attempt to throw yourself up against the wall. The other members of Stheno are kind of panicked, looking around.
Four successes.
Okay, with 4 successes, you smash using your full force against the wall, and you can hear cracks starting to break out across the brickwork, but it doesn't seem to be quite enough. Down at the opposite hallway, opposite end with the door leading out to the hallway, you hear a big thud, and you see a dent kind of break into the security door that is locking the solitary confinement wing out from the rest of the prison. But you can hear another snarling kind of yelp and a surge.
I'm going to attempt again since I got a crack in it.
Okay, so backing up, your shoulder feeling like fiery pain from the impact against the wall that didn't seem to want to give. You prepare, tensing yourself, and throw yourself against the wall. Give me another strength and brawl.
4 successes again.
4 successes. Okay. You smash against the wall a second time, more of the cracks spreading out and some of the brickwork starting to chip and fall off of the wall ever so slightly. As it starts to break away, you see what looks to be the emerging of an opening starting to form into the wall, as you can see some of the security lights outside of the facility starting to flood in through the gap. You think 1, maybe 2 more throws should do it if you're as successful as you have been, but it could be easier if you do it another way.
I'm going to need you guys to turn around. Please.
After a minute, you hear them go, okay, okay. They all start to turn around and cover their ears and cover their eyes.
I'm shifting into Krynos.
Okay, so go ahead and make the 2 rage checks.
Ugh, I lost 2 rage.
You lost 2 rage. Okay.
I'm at 1.
So you're down to 1 rage as you make the shift, turning into Krynos form. Up on your hind legs, growing even a foot, maybe 2 feet taller. The guard uniform completely tears off of your body at this point. The scraps of fabric kind of falling down to the floor. Fur covering your entire form as your muscles grow thicker and covered in this coarse hair. Your claws extend out of your hands, your mouth turning into a muzzle that extends from your face, filled with long, sharp fangs. That wall, that barrier, must be passed. Go ahead and roll a strength and brawl, and you can add your additional die. You also have 4 additional dice from your Krynos form, smashing against the wall.
I'm really glad that messy criticals don't count. I mean, it might have been cool this time. I did get a critical, so for 7 successes.
7 successes. So now in your full, most powerful form, you wind up and smash against the wall with as much force as you can muster, and the wall crumbles, breaking out to the outside, out into the yard beyond. You can see the fence on the far side of the yard. You can hear the sirens from all over the prison going off, and you can see searchlights already starting to sweep the grounds of the yard below.
I am running for the fence.
What are you doing with your friends? You told
They're
them to
staying
turn
here.
around.
They're staying here for a moment. I am running towards the fence.
Okay, so emerging through the gap in the wall, you start rushing across the yard towards the fence beyond. Go ahead and are you trying to avoid the spotlights, or are you trying to get them to follow you?
It never set a distance on how much delirium affected. They can spot me.
They can spot you? Okay.
Yeah.
So as you rush out into the yard, sprinting your way across towards the fence, go ahead and roll me a dexterity and athletics as you can hear several rifles starting to open fire wildly.
That is 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. So as you're running across the wall, you feel white hot pains kind of hit against your side and against your outextended arms as you take another 2 points of superficial physical damage from random rifle shots that seem to be peppering the yard down below. You can hear screams of terror and panic coming from the guard stations, but in their delirium struck state, they seem to be firing wildly at whatever they think that thing is charging across the yard.
What kind of fence is it?
It seems to be 2 layers of chain link fence. There's a forward fence that has barbed wire wrapped around the top, and then a secondary fence that appears to be even higher with barbed wire around the top, but it does seem to be chain link for the most part, with steel posts kind of anchoring the chains.
Yeah, screw that. I'm just going to rip through the chain link fences.
So go ahead and give me another strength and brawl check as you manage to use your claws to grab onto the chain link and start tearing it open.
Eight successes with a crit.
Okay. So you do, with a sudden jerk, just tear the chain link open, the various springs of metal kind of popping as they are separated by the force of your claws, tearing them asunder, almost parting the sea of the fence. You rip through the first layer of fence. Go ahead and take another 2 superficial points of physical damage as more of this white hot pain from these rifle rounds kind of hit into your body.
All right, let me check something. Does it take an action to howl at the moon?
It does not.
Okay. I'm going to howl. Give myself another rage.
Letting out a howl looking up towards the moon overhead, you feel the rage and anger in you build, bringing you up to 2 points of rage.
Where are they shooting at from?
They seem to be shooting from up on towers on either side of the fence, kind of one about 100 yards away and up, the other one about 100 yards the other way and up.
After the howl, I want to give like an ear-piercing roar. I'm attempting to intimidate them to run.
Okay, go ahead and give me a manipulation and intimidation.
Four successes.
4 successes. So looking over towards the towers, you let out a deep roar from within your gut, kind of staring up at the panicked, stricken guards up in the towers who, like dinner plates the size of their eyes, as they're firing randomly in your direction. And as you roar, the guards on the tower to your left suddenly start to panic and stumble backwards, and one of the guards actually goes toppling over the side of the tower, falling down below as the other dives into the guard booth out of sight.
Okay, I'm now heading back.
Okay, so turning around, the fence in front of you, just an open path, possibly to freedom. You make your way back towards the prison.
And I'm going to heal.
Okay,
Or
so go
attempt to
ahead
heal.
and roll your rage check.
Good on that.
Okay, and just double checking on our form here of regeneration.
Right. I'm looking as well.
So you get your 4 bonus health levels, so it's just your Krynos form that's, well, you've gotten a little bit into your... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say you regenerate 2 points of superficial damage with each rage check that you make.
Right. Can I only make 1 per round? Or...
You can only make 1 per round, yes.
Alright. So 2 this round. Crap. I'm heading back in, and I'm going to shift to Glabro again.
Okay, so go ahead and make the 1 rage check to shift down into your Glabro form. You succeed on the rage check, so as you're running across the yard from your Krynos form, your steps get a little bit shorter. You're making a little less distance as you run, but you shape down into your form. Your dedicated bodysuit's the only thing clinging to your flesh as you make your way across the yard towards the opening that you broke through the brick wall. As you get there, you can see your friends are all kind of huddled off to one side, and you can see that there is another new dent in the heavy security door at the opposite end of the hallway.
We need to go.
They all kind of climb up and start hesitantly kind of running towards you, attempting to follow your lead. Go ahead and make me a dexterity and leadership as you try to run across the yard, leading your friends so that they don't fall into the spotlights or gunfire.
Alright, and somebody has Chloe, right?
Somebody has Chloe, yeah.
Okay. Three successes.
Okay, so 3 successes. As you kind of spring into action, running out of the door, you try to avoid the spotlights that seem to be swinging wildly across the yard. Jackson has Chloe kind of positioned in his arms as he takes up the rear, following behind you, trying to stop short of every spotlight that comes across the yard. You run full tilt across the yard as best as possible. You can still hear the sound of bullets hitting the dirt, but by your path and your leadership, you do manage to help them make their way out of the yard successfully without getting shot. You now find yourself outside of the prison yard, outside of the most exterior fence. In front of you, there appears to be some woods, but beyond that, not too far off, what looks like a major roadway.
Okay. Where are we in relationship to the parking lot or the bus?
If you were to kind of go down the fence to your left, heading down that way, you'd have to break back through the fences to get into the parking lot, but you could.
Okay. But there's still a bunch of searchlights going off even near the parking lot, isn't
Oh yeah,
there?
all over the facility, and you can hear the sounds of the alarms going off from the facility itself.
Shit. Alright. We're heading across the street.
Okay. So running across the yard, across the forested area, you make your way out to the major roadway. What's your intention?
I need a place for them to hide so that I might circle around the back and grab the bus.
Okay, go ahead and give me a wits and awareness to see if you can find a way.
Yeah, I'm spending a willpower. I'm impaired now. So.
So that'll be a -1 to all of your mental dice pools, social and mental dice pools from this point.
Right, 2 successes.
2 successes. Panicked, you're kind of looking along the busy roadway in the woods behind you, trying to find a place to hide as 2 headlights kind of come into view and illuminate you and your friends along the roadway. They come flying forward at a rapid rate before tires screeching, the vehicle skids to a halt right by the sidewalk that you stand on. And you see a beaten up blue, green, and brown Jeep come just skidding to a halt in front of you, the doors on both sides flinging open automatically as Regina comes squealing to a halt right in front of you. As you look at the car, there's nobody in the car. It seems like the car drove here on its own.
I love you. I love you so much right now. I'll look to the others. Get in the car.
Scrambling into the car, Jackson lifting Chloe into the back seat and climbing into the back. Caleb also climbing in behind them. And you jumping into the driver's seat. The doors start to close, and you put the car into gear and start squealing away. Go ahead, what were you going to say?
I will stop and look back. Fuck! I'll pull out my phone. Call and hand it to Jackson. Call the number Artie. Regina, get them to Artie. I'm going back. I can't leave Ryder.
As you prepare to climb out of the vehicle, a large, lumbering figure comes stumbling out of the woods behind you before collapsing to the ground. The headlights in the illumination, you see Ryder sprawled out on the ground in front of you. However, one of his arms has been completely torn off. Now, we're going to transition back to the apartment, where we find Joseph. You've arrived. Aiden and Aspen, as well as Artie, are sitting in the living room as you make your arrival. You were called by Aspen and told to come meet at Artie's apartment because Aiden had some important news for you to discuss. Artie opens the door. Hey, Joseph, come on in. And steps back, holding the door open for you.
I'm going.
You can see Aiden's kind of over on the couch. He looks a little bit shaken, a little bit kind of uncomfortable, and Aspen seems to be standing in all of her authority, kind of pacing on the other side of the room until you arrive. And the scene is yours.
Okay. You remember when I gave the information about Artie and I finding those other kin, right?
Yeah.
So earlier tonight, I went to the university to try and meet with Terrence. I got some face-to-face. I tried doing it as I am. I'll get to that in a second. At the end of me meeting with him, one of the people from the cult, one of the cult of Fenris, was with him, like a friend of Terrence's. And Artie, Aspen, and I, we come to this agreement that that's not a coincidence. And with them being, that very much seemed like they're like staying together in the same room, that the cult may have been here longer than we thought. I was wondering if you had dug up anything additional on them, or like any way to kind of like fight this. Like how do I get ahead of this?
Okay, I don't have concrete on the cult. I have some stories and some explanations from elders on what happened to them. They were part of the nation and aren't anymore because they lost themselves to Hoglosk, to the hunt for glory. But if their old reputation of what they were before carries, they're gonna be persuasive. They're probably gonna have basically a pipeline, if you know what I mean. So yeah, they're probably trying to recruit him. But the way you talk about him, like he works at the zoo, right? He's taking care of animals. He's a little bit softer than what they would go for. They're very, military kind of Viking wannabe kind of feel. So they're gonna go for that angry, disenfranchised kind of vibe. That gives us a chance, considering he doesn't strike that from your descriptions. But we do need to talk to him. So we need to get in there and
Well, I
have a
had
good
the
influence.
yeah, I had the idea of going to school and having face to face. Aspen said, what was the title that you said? Something for the room.
Yeah, an RA.
Yeah, that.
Oh, I mean, that gets you in. If we get him in the right dorm, that gets you time to talk to him. Yeah, I mean, getting to talk to him would be good. As like this.
Right.
That would be good. School's gonna be a lot for you. No offense.
What Aspen's for?
No, I mean just the experience of going through school, not getting grades and stuff. I mean, it's just the ritual of it, the patterns, the things you have to go through the motions. That's going to be a big step for you. I think you're capable, but it is going to be a lot to manage, and then manage with, building a second friendship with somebody without telling them about the first friendship. I don't know how much we can tell in this role before the change. I mean, I guess we'd look at them the way we'd look at Ghislaine, but like he shouldn't necessarily get delirium if he finds out, but like I don't know.
That's
Well,
what there's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
with the cult, is there so from what Aiden said, and correct me if I'm wrong, there was 3 of them there and they were doing cult stuff already, correct?
Yeah, they're sitting in the trailer. There was one dude. He came out and he had like some weird outfit on, but he had like glowing yellow eyes, and that's when he was holding that the book itself, and they're all kind of sitting there around this guy.
Okay, so they would know something is up. Whether or not they know they're becoming us, they would know they're part of an organization. I don't know how they run as a cult now. I don't know what they tell their kin. I don't know what they do beforehand. Those rituals, whatever they knew before, I'm sure their rituals have changed and gotten worse. So maybe they know something. Maybe they think they're a frat or a secret society or something, and they haven't changed yet. Maybe those people have. Well, you said they didn't feel like they've changed yet, right?
No, they hadn't gone through the process yet. I'm worried though about. I don't know. Something feels different about Terrence. I know it's obviously getting closer and closer, but I feel like we're getting there.
Yeah, and exposure to other. I would guess exposure to more potentially supernatural things could be that way. So I was found by a kin seeker, just to put some light on it. But I was approached during my first change, not before. I don't know if they were watching me. I think part of what triggered my change was being close to a cairn. There was one near my college, so I think that's what kind of woke it up in me. And so I think proximity to the wild within us might speed things up. So I think that's probably what you're feeling. If I had to guess, that you're feeling the fact that he's around, that could do something like that.
Okay, so with our Karen being built, saying could make the change happen like
I
sooner.
mean, maybe that's part of it. I think just being around others too. If 2 potential kin are in the same room living together and in college life, that, I mean, college roommates can bring out rage. So I could see that being a big factor too.
So you think that they could be trying to prep him in a sense, getting him to a point of the
Maybe.
transition?
Yeah, they could be trying to push it along too, or pushing all of them along. They've now got 4 recruits. They probably want them changed so that they can get more soldiers, because that's what they're looking at. They're looking at numbers. They
All
just
right, Joseph, how do I get ahead of it? How do I do this?
we gotta make contact.
Okay.
And probably quick.
Artie, you said like what, 2 days? You could probably get me in.
At best, yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of workarounds. I mean, someone's going to effectively appear in their system out of nowhere. I got to make sure that there's no trail that makes that suspicious. I mean, there's a lot of students, so it's a little bit easier to kind of slide these things in, but if they go looking for actual hard paperwork on you and don't find it, they're going to start asking questions.
You don't have to do this alone.
Yeah, but you guys are all so busy though. You're building the cairn. Aspen, she has the lawyer thing and having to deal with that. Artie's constantly trying to do the computer stuff, and Jess, she's got the dealing with her own like hiding.
Yeah, but like, what's good's a house if we don't have people to invite over? I mean,
yeah.
I'm willing to help you. Like, the progress is progress. It doesn't take 24 hours a day to do this. If you want to meet with him, you know him in your form. If you want to meet with him and have a human-looking person there, I mean, I'm sure one of us, I'll go, and if that'll make it easier. Because I mean, you're going to build a second relationship, and that's going to take time too. You've already got a budding one. I mean, it's an option. I mean, you don't have to do this by yourself. We're a pack, and that's what we do. We do things together. We figure it out together.
100%. And we could do something along, this is just me spitballing, we could do something along those lines of me and Joseph being there, or just Joseph, and then getting to chatting, and we can be like, hey, invite him to the thing, and you can show up there like you, and then you can start a conversation, start a relationship that way, and that'll get you in as well.
I mean, how did you meet him this more recent time? What'd you do?
I first tried keep breaking into the big building, and then tried lying to the police guys there, and then that didn't work. So then I went into my lupus form, and then I howled a few times, and that got his attention, and then he came out.
Okay. I mean, we could always just do that again. I mean, if you got a way to get a hold of him as a wolf, we can be there. You can call him, and we can be there too.
He is expecting, he said here soon, the first place we met, after that initial hunt when I told you guys about the whole wind and everything, he brought up that he wants to meet there again, here soon.
Okay. Do you want us there? Do you want to meet him and then like lead him to us, and we can have that talk?
That's not a bad idea, actually.
I mean, we don't want it to look like creepy cult stuff.
But yeah.
But like, hey, I have, give him the I have friends look, and then we could start talking, and then we could kind of play it by ear and see what we can tell him. Because like, I would have loved to have known beforehand. I don't think we're breaking the litany with that. Like, he's beyond the veil. He already is, so I don't think we're breaking anything, right, Aspen?
Yes and no. So it really just depends, because as far as I know, and I could completely be wrong, just because they are better and more attuned with us doesn't mean that they're far beyond it until after their first change. So I don't know, because that takes a specific type of person to not be spooked so much.
Yeah.
And there is also the option we tell him and he goes, "You guys are insane," and never wants to talk to us again. And then we have a whole different issue. So it's not so much about the litany issue, it's more about breaking news softly, but I don't know if there's a way to completely do that before his change.
We have the other forms. I mean, if the conversation leads that way, we could show a little bit and just don't go big scary. If it goes to that, we kind of have to just play it by ear, I guess, and see how he responds to what's happening. And maybe it'll be I've always felt weird and I've always felt different, and now I know what it is, and it's cool to have a name to it. That helps
Like
a
a
lot of people.
superhero movie?
I mean, listen, they got to be based on something.
Well, there's also the option. What we really need to know is how much the other ones know and what they're pushing him to do, if they are. That's the first things first. So we kind of got to lay it down softly and just kind of get to know you, Aiden, get to know him, kind of figure out what he knows about his roommates, and kind of go from there. Because if you can get in good with him, you could start, I don't know, meeting up at the cemetery, and maybe by that time we have the cairn set up and it's going to be a softer blow when he does change. I just think it's not a great idea to give him too much information before his first change. I think it's not smart because it could really, really badly push him away.
Go slow.
Right.
Okay.
There's also
Yeah,
another
no.
possibility, and I'm not a big fan of it, but desperate times, desperate measures. We could try to force the change and then explain everything after, because I have no doubt that's what the cult would do.
And
Yeah.
I don't want to
and the-
resort to that though.
It's not a bad option, though. It's not like you're going to go boo and then change and stuff. You still need to build that rapport for it to really have a good effect, but it's not a bad option. I mean, controlling the environment of the change puts it in your control, which therefore means that his change is better than most.
Because let's
That's
say
why
it
I brought
goes
up
worst case scenario, like Joseph said, and he thinks we're all crazy and heads back. That kind of emotional turmoil. Maybe he heads back to the campus and then that night has his change and
yeah, that's bad.
he's in the middle of a bunch of people. At
So the
least,
cairn at the cemetery, you're saying,
or
would
just the
be-
park. It doesn't need
Yeah,
to be the
we-
cairn. The park is remote. If we get him out in the middle of Hillsborough Park and rile him
And
up.
honest, I've heard of people just shifting in front of them because the delirium can do that, depending on who it is, depending on if he's a fight or flight. If he's a fight, then he'll shift.
Right. And if we're all together, then there's more, blocking him from doing anything crazy. And I'm not saying like push him off a cliff or anything like that. But it's an option. It's definitely, if we feel like we're losing the time, that's something we could do. But I think you need to build that rapport first, and we need to figure out what we're getting ourselves into with this cult situation.
Well,
I would.
if we want less chance of getting caught, it's going to mean a little less access, but it's going to be a gradual building of a rapport. We could always get you in the volunteer program at the zoo. That's a lot easier to get you into, a lot less paperwork, and you being around wolves, you being around animals will associate a positive kind of connection there. And if you show a mutual love of something, you loving yourself, or your original kind, and his affinity for animals, then maybe you can endear him to you and he'll start spending a little less time at school. Come and hang out with you. Take him to, Joseph's shop. Go to the park a lot. And then he'll become more trusting of the time spent with you. And then when the time comes, or if he starts to feel a certain way, maybe you're the one he seeks out.
Yeah,
I'd be
I
more
like that.
comfortable at the zoo, to be completely honest, than at a school.
I can get that done a lot easier than the school. The school will take a while, but I can get you in the volunteer program definitely in 2 days at most.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds a
What
lot
were you
better
say-
than having to try and fake it at a school.
No, that's good, because then you can build a friendship, and if that as that grows, because I trust that it will, you can actually introduce him to your other friends. We can build a group rapport and make him know that we're safe people, and so if things start to happen, and maybe if we get a group, he may bring his roommate, and we can see what they're doing, and see, because I bet if I was going to connect any other dots, I bet they're going for the alienated. I bet the cult goes for the alienated type. That's the MO of other people that follow in their tradition. So I would not be surprised if they're aiming for that. So if we make him feel welcomed and like he belongs with people that can help get in the way of their psychology, if they're doing the same patterns that other people that really like runes do.
Okay.
The other thing we have to talk about, I mean, this is all well and good, and this is future, but in a more immediate sense, and I talked a little bit with Aspen and Aiden about this. Jester is potentially becoming a problem, and if we don't have our shit straight at home, how are we going to bring new people into the house? Like, using your metaphor, I mean, she would make a great weird aunt, I'm sure, in the family dynamic, but right now she's acting like a bratty sister. And it's getting to the point of potentially being dangerous and something that we need to keep an eye on, because, and he kind of explains the whole process he was going through of building her army and how he did not go through with it. That's a lot of innocent people that she was willing to put in harm's way for her 4 friends.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know how that would work with the litany, but exposing the existence of vampires is awful close to exposing the guru. They start to notice something weird there, they're going to start looking for the other weird things, and we do plenty of weird things ourselves.
Exactly
Yeah.
my point with the whole it coming back on us, flipping the script and whatnot.
Pitchforks and torches burn everybody.
Artie looks at his watch. She's been gone a while. I assume she'll be back soon. Should we talk with her when she gets back? I mean, I assume if she was going to stay with Leon, she'd at least text me, but I haven't heard anything yet.
How long has it been?
About 3 hours at this point.
Do you know where she went, or she just went out?
She just went for a drive.
A long drive.
A little bit.
You don't got a GPS on Regina, do you?
No. That's getting
Okay.
to very different spirits to work together.
I assumed as much, but
Although, I would hope that if Regina thought she was in trouble or doing something stupid, she'd stop her, so.
I mean, she's not as far gone as Ryder. Not this fast, right?
Who knows how long it takes? It's different for everybody.
Yeah, I guess, but
Something happens to her friends, that might be all it takes.
yeah. I mean, she needs us. She needs to know that we got her back, but I know that's not going to mean a lot if nothing's happening.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just wait.
We'll talk to her.
Yeah.
When she comes back.
Just give her some space.
With that, let's transition back to Jester. Jester, the fallen, broken, beaten form of Ryder, lays at your feet on the roadway, illuminated by the headlights of Regina. Taking stock of the situation, I'd like you to roll a wits and awareness for me. Nothing?
Nothing.
You quickly rush over to the fallen form of Ryder, who lays face down, and you turn him over. As you turn him over, you see in the one arm he has left, he seems to be clutching the clave. But you also see that a good foot-long chunk of the clave appears to be broken off. Go ahead and roll me an intelligence and medicine check.
Is he in Hamid form?
He's in Hamid form.
Okay. 1 success.
As you look over his form, you see several small holes in his body that are hissing and burning, but the most important part is about where the sternum is. You see a big chunk of silver metal sticking out of his chest that seems to match the broken off end of the clave. As he slumps over, he kind of coughs and a big glob of blood kind of comes spilling out of his mouth. And he opens his eyes ever so slightly and looks over at you and kind of curls up the edge of his lip in a smile, and you can see that his teeth are completely covered in blood. He got out.
You are not dying on me. Do you still have the wolf?
Never finished telling you the story.
You can tell me later. We need to go.
No. I can't heal anymore. I can't find the wolf anymore.
Then I will help you. I will start singing Song of Rage.
Okay, go ahead and spend the willpower and make the roll.
It's actually a rage check.
Oh, rage check, sorry.
Yeah. Which I failed, so I'm down to 1 rage again, but it's enough. And I'm going to spend a willpower and take myself into aggravated.
Okay.
Okay. Got a crit. And I got 3. That's 5 successes, not 3 successes. And it says the make a gift check at a difficulty 3, which I did. If successful, all other members of the user's pack within earshot gain a point of rage or 2 points of a critical win.
All of the members of the user's pack.
Shit.
Ryder is not part of the pack. As you sing out, he kind of chuckles and coughs a little bit more blood kind of coming out of his mouth and some starting to pour out of his sizzling wounds. Joseph Blackrock died saving us from Bloody Mary. It's my turn. And he lifts the broken clave and shoves it into your chest. Just like it's yours. And his fingers start to slip off the clave.
I'll take the clave.
Drop to the ground. Bury me at the cairn. And with that, you see his eyes slowly drift close and his head fall back as he falls still.
I will let out a scream of rage and start crying, but I will pick him up.
Go ahead and make a strength in athletics.
4 successes.
So you drag him, wrapping your arms around his body, and load him into into the Jeep of Regina. Probably into the trunk, as there's not a great deal of seeing. And you climb into the driver's side and you make your way out. Caleb and Jackson are in complete silence. Chloe is still drifting in and out of consciousness. And for the first time, as you get far away from the jail and the adrenaline has started to calm, you realize Mia's not there, and she never was. Where are you going?
Ryder's Bar.
Okay. Driving across town, you see several police cruisers fly past heading towards the prison. Go ahead and roll me a wits and drive check. You can take an additional 2 dice from Regina's assistance because
Thank you.
she'd be able to help you in this.
Alright. 2 successes.
2 successes, okay. So you managed to avoid any particular problems. They're not looking for this Jeep. They don't know what's inside, and driving very carefully, the Jeep kind of takes back roads, moving its way, heading towards Ryder's Bar. As you pull up outside, the bar is empty, as it was before. The bike gone. The building dark and silent. What is your intention?
I'm going to text Artie. I need you at Ryder's Bar. Everyone. Ryder's dead.
A few moments pass before you get the response text. We're on our way. About 20 to 30 minutes later, the pack arrives at Ryder's Motorcycle Club. Already told the three. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Can I get the bar open?
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't even locked.
All right.
You just walk inside. The reputation of the bar is enough to keep people from going in most of the time.
I'm going to usher them into the bar and kind of just sit at the stoop with the clave in my lap, just staring off at nothing.
Okay. Already told you three the message he received from Jester. And Aspen obviously quickly instructed that everybody get their asses out there as quick as they could. So you all got into Joseph's car, as Regina is nowhere to be seen, and you make your drive over to the motorcycle club. As you arrive, you can see Regina outside, quiet and still. You make your way into the bar, and you find Jester, as described, holding the clave, sitting at the bar, covered in blood in her bodysuit, still wounded. And you hear kind of some murmuring voices from another booth in the bar as you see 2 men and one woman who seems to be kind of held in one of their laps. Did you bring Ryder into the bar?
Yeah.
Okay. And in the back room, I assume, since you wouldn't leave just a dead body in the main bar area, you do find the fallen body of Ryder laying completely still. The scene is yours.
Aspen will fly into the bar, look around, see the people, immediately become like confused, a little mad because she's met them all. Well, yeah, met them all, and just look over to Jester.
He wasn't supposed to sacrifice himself.
Where is he?
Just in the back. I'll slide off the stool, carrying the clave.
Walking into
Head
the
that
back
way.
room, you find in the middle of the concrete floor where once a motorcycle was being repaired, where once a trial of combat between Aiden and Ryder took place, where once a plan was hatched, and where once a confrontation was had, now lies the body of Ryder. I assume, Jester, you would have taken a sheet or something, some fabric, and covered him with it. But you can see that the blood has already started to stain the sheet over his body.
Joseph will reach into his pockets in his jacket and pull out a bundle of herbs, and he'll start performing a rite, just quietly burning herbs and blessing the body and going through his little ritual.
Wasn't supposed to happen this way.
How'd
Well,
it
then-
happen?
I ended up here. Not really wanting to be here, or trying to. And I intended to confront him in the way that we would come to an understanding with each other. And we did. And then he offered me something I couldn't refuse. He said he had a plan to get them out. But it had to happen tonight. We went. It was going so well, but Mary showed up.
Did you help him?
He locked me in a solitary that I had to break my way out of. So no, I couldn't help him. And when I went back for him, he was already too wounded. And I couldn't give him the rage. I couldn't give him the anger. He'd lost the wolf.
Where's Mary?
I don't know. She didn't follow us.
Is there... Oh, sorry. Is there any scent of Mary on Ryder?
Go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness.
Two.
The sound or the smell of blood and sizzled flesh, of molten silver, is too overwhelming for you to pick up any other scent.
Did you get all your friends out?
Mia's missing. She's been erased from the system. But the others...
Artie,
Yeah,
we gotta work on getting them out of here.
I already started on it when I kind of been working on it for a while, just in case we did need to make them disappear, so I can get them on a plane out first thing in the morning. It'll take them to Mexico, and then from Mexico I've got them connected out to Europe, and then probably somewhere else from there. I can figure out another connection from there.
It's the earliest we can get them out.
Flight leaves at 6 a.m.
Perfect. Okay.
Ryder said something about Chloe. They were testing her for something. It wasn't normal tests, he said. He called her a Ghislaine. He said that they were like us, but they weren't.
And what do you
Chloe's
want us to do with that?
She's the unconscious one in the other room. I don't think she's fit to fly. I can get the other two out immediately, but she's gonna need a few days at least. She looks really drawn and not in good shape. I don't know if they'd let her on a plane, let alone take her across the ocean. I think if she is a Ghislaine like Jester says, we gotta take her to Eliza.
Okay. What do we do about him?
I don't know. I mean, he's a human now, basically. He just gets buried, burned.
He wants to be buried in the sept. That's what he wanted.
Joseph,
Make it happen.
put him in Regina. We're doing that tonight. Jester, you can stay with your friends.
Okay.
Hidden, help me lift them up.
The two of you, it's not much effort, even though he is heavy. The combined work of both of you are able to pick him up and take him, putting him in the back seat of Regina, still wrapped up in the cloth. Leaving Jester behind, Aspen, Aiden, Joseph, and Artie make their way out to the Memorial Gardens in two separate vehicles. Regina being driven by Artie and Aiden, just in case they get there first to help lift him out. Aspen and Joseph taking the other vehicle. Aiden, in the car ride with Artie, is there any thoughts that cross your mind, any conversations you wish to have?
Artie, I'm struggling right now. I could use some of that good old fun stuff you do.
Yeah, bud. Have you ever seen the movie The Last Samurai? Tom Cruise, Ken Watanabe?
No, it
Well,
sounds pretty cool though.
in The Last Samurai, it's the story about this warrior. This warrior who protected his village, kind of the last of his kind. The old ways versus a world that was becoming new. One that would likely see the end of his way of life, the end of his culture. He takes in a mentor and he teaches him one of the other side, so to speak. And one of the things he says is he talks about the perfect death. Every samurai's greatest wish, to die honorably, to die doing what they were meant to do, a warrior's death. Well, needless to say, spoiler alert, he dies at the end of the movie. And as he dies, there's these rose blossoms kind of raining down, and his last words are perfect before he passes away. This was what Ryder was meant to do. I don't believe in fate or anything like that, but he was a warrior. He was a leader. And he was trying to correct a wrong that he had committed. One that he felt responsible for, a burden that he carried. I think he was trying to find his way back. Now I've heard stories at Moots that dying in the service of the cairn, dying in the service of the pack helps restore some of one's renown. helps them hold a place of honor in the silver record, in the history of the cairn, in the history of the tribe. I think we have to honor that he made this choice, but also to learn from his mistake, all of his mistakes. Mary isn't somebody that we're going to be able to fight one-on-one. Hell, we might not even be able to fight her 5-on-1. We have to be ready. We have to prepare. And she is coming for us without doubt. Because there's no way, as much as I respect Ryder for what he did, there's no way he finished her off. And now she's got even more reason to be angry. But that anger you're feeling, that frustration that you're feeling, you just gotta use it as motivation. You're not gonna find Mary tonight, and if you do, you're not gonna live through it. And then the pack is down another member, the cairn is down another member, and we're lost. We have to see this for what it was, a sacrifice to do the right thing, to earn his place at the table, even if he doesn't get to sit at it. Honor him like a warrior does.
Him and we had a plan of how we were going to keep everything safe. He was my addition as far as the power that I can't provide. He was that extra piece. I've just recently started getting over a loss, and now right back at it. Another version of someone stronger than me, better than me. Gone again.
There's probably going to be a lot more, bud. But he wouldn't have taken a risk like this. He wouldn't have made a sacrifice like he did if he didn't think you had the strength, if we all had the strength to carry on. This city, this sept, this history was all that he cared about. We had to lose him to grow stronger.
Well, we don't have a choice now.
I know. But that's not what we need to think about right now. We need to think about everyone else, you and me. Because this is going to be... There's one hell of a storm coming. And that storm is our dear Alpha. She's not going to like this.
Nope. Been on the end of a few different arguments, but I haven't seen her quite like this.
Yeah. Just be strong. Support our leaders, support our pack, our cairn. And we still need to help Jester, no matter what happens, because she is one of us, and we're not going to make the mistake that the nation did with him, with Eliza.
I agree. Thank you, Artie. That was helpful.
I got you, bud. Over in the other vehicle, Aspen and Joseph, you follow behind Regina as she makes the drive to the Memorial Gardens. What's going through your minds, and would you have anything to say to one another? Aspen, we'll start with you.
Aspen is furious. Just surface level, all she can feel right now is just anger, seething anger. So she is just sitting in the passenger seat, so silent.
Joseph?
So
and
Joseph
Aspen, take a point of rage.
Joseph is feeling that and not wanting to open that up yet. So Joseph is riding in perfect silence. The radio is not on. inside of his head, he is trying to come up with words. He is singing a song that he plans to sing, that he was kind of subtly singing while doing the blessing, but not making a noise. He knows better than to stoke a silent woman. So he's going to let that ride and just prepare for what's to come.
Back at the bar, Jester, the rest of your pack has departed. Aspen, your alpha, telling you to stay behind with your friends. You sit in the back room, holding the clave or what's left of it, and your eyes can't help but stare at that blood stain on the floor where Ryder's body was just minutes earlier. After a moment, you hear somewhat of a commotion out in the kind of main room. You hear Jackson and Caleb being like, Chloe, what the hell? No, you gotta lay down. You gotta rest. The protesting continues until you hear shuffling outside of the door to the back room. And the door kind of flies open. And Chloe's lurched, kind of leaning against the door frame. What did you do?
I guess I messed up again.
She starts to kind of shuffle forward, and Caleb and Jackson follow behind her, trying to support her, but she just shoves them back. How many times is it going to be like this, Jess? How many times are other people going to get hurt? When are you going to learn? You can't just do whatever you want. There are consequences. What are we going to do?
I have a friend that's going to get Jackson and Caleb out tonight. 6 a.m. flight. Though you might need a little rest before we can get you out of the city.
She kind of looks over her shoulder back at Jackson and Caleb and shoots them a look, and they kind of both hold up their hands and back off, leaving the room. Jackson, knowing that look, kind of closing the door behind them. Last chance, Jess. What's going on? You tell me now, or I'm leaving with them. I'll be damned. I'd rather die on the flight than stay here.
You can't tell them.
Why shouldn't they know? Their lives are ruined too. Everything we've been building is in ruins. We can't do any more help. We can't do any more good.
I know. Is
So
the
what
door
does it
shut?
matter? Yeah, oh yeah.
Is it? You can't tell them. And please, please, please don't run away.
Why shouldn't I? What am I to you?
I'll shift into Lupus.
Go ahead and make a rage check for the shift, but I'd also like you to make a charisma and persuasion check, but you can add a die because of the shift.
Do I need to make a rage just from shift to
No,
Hobbit to...
it's a free shift. My mistake.
You're right.
No, you're right. So you just make
Right.
the shift, but go ahead and make the charisma and persuasion with an additional die because of the shift.
Good, because I got nothing else, really, except that one rage. Eight successes.
As you make the shift, you see her kind of stumble backwards a little bit, surprised at first as she watches you drop down to all fours, first spreading across your limbs once again, growing more nimble, more agile, more aware. The wounds still kind of paining you throughout the transition as your body has to reconfigure itself to find its new shape. It makes those bullet holes feel even deeper. But as you drop down to all fours, she just stares. With that, we'll transition back to the cemetery. The Jeep and Joseph's car pull into the cemetery grounds. They drive down the long driveway, now completely enshrouded in darkness except for a few lights that mark the way. You pass through the curtain of Spanish moss that drapes from the nearby trees, and you arrive at the base of Grandmother Willow.
I
The
look over to
wind is
Joseph.
still. There is no breeze. The trees do not shake. The leaves do not rustle. But go ahead. Sorry about that.
Look over to Joseph. You guys have shovels here?
Yeah. I'll head over to one of the storage sheds, grab some shovels.
Okay.
And start digging.
Need no help.
While digging, he will look up to Grandmother Willow. It was his request to come home. Please allow us to lay him to rest.
There isn't any obvious response, but there doesn't appear to be a resistance. The dirt actually comes easily to each shovelful, as if the ground is releasing its hold on one another. As the earth slowly opens up through your efforts, Artie grabs a shovel, Aiden grabs a shovel, Aspen probably even grabs a shovel for a little bit. And you dig out a grave, the earth opening up to accept the fallen form of Ryder, which you gingerly place within the ground. The scene is yours.
As they lay him down and they start laying the dirt over him, Joseph will sing a quiet dirge in a mix of English and some old Gaelic he knew before, and a mix of other things, kind of hodgepodging traditions together to match what has become of this side of things. Mixing some of grandmother and some of what he's learned on this side. And then again, when he is completely covered, he'll burn his lavender and do another blessing as they continue to pile dirt on.
As the dirt's being piled on, a breeze rustles within the tree, and several leaves fall, drifting down into the grave on top of the dirt as shovelfuls cover the body.
He'll take the leaves and he will move them into the shape of the red talons glyph as the dirt goes back over them.
And before long, the body is buried enshrined in the earth at the base of the tree. This may be issue for another day, Joseph, a grave appearing out of nowhere, but for this particular evening, Ryder has come home. And with that, we bring an end to our session. Thank you so much to our amazing players. Thank you so much to everybody watching at home. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all social media listed down below. There's also links in the description of the video, as well as the videos on YouTube. You can catch up on all the past episodes of Rage Across Tampa, as well as all of our amazing shows over at YouTube or here on Twitch. This week, we have Thursday, Don't Get Caught. Friday, What the Hell Is That? Our Hunter the Reckoning Chronicle. Saturday, a very, very special conversation with Mr. Gone, a mover and shaker within the world of darkness, one of many to come. And then on Sunday, we have Bloody Strings. And then next week, we'll be back here on Tuesday for the next episode of Rage Across Tampa, where the pack attempts to recover from a devastating blow. What will this mean for the relationship with Ryder, or with Aspen and Jester? How will Ryder's memory be honored? And what's in the future for the cairn that was once known as the Weeping Willow? Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night, everyone.